it's technically biblical, but I do believe that technology has been hidden for a very long time, and I think we've talked about this recently, that if you look at the human life and how technology has really exploded, since the wheel, until when vehicles weren't created.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't even have to go. Just from the year 1900 to today.
1900 today, it has been a unbelievable explosion.
We went from riding horses,
and it is not plateaued.
No,
it hasn't plateaued. It is climbing and climbing. So, like I said, I have a certain belief, which we're not going to. Maybe one day we'll talk about it. I mean, go down the rabbit hole, man. This is why I wanted to have this podcast. Episode 13 is dedicated to this stupid shit. I believe, and I'm going to dumb it down, right? This isn't what people are going to think the way I'm going to say it, but I'm going to dumb it down for people who are stupid. People are very dumb. You guys are stupid. I'm just kidding. So, I believe that there is an outside force that knows technology and has given humans the knowledge of these things, and it is now starting to open up, and we're going to continue to see a lot crazier technology.
That's a legitimate theory in the conspiracy theory community. It's tied to LSD and MK Ultra.
I don't know about that.
So
I have a different. It's a biblical correlation.
It is a biblical correlation because I know exactly what you're talking about. But to those who don't believe in God, I'm going to try to put this to you. If y'all know that the U.S. government was holding experiments with LSD back in the 60s and 70s with a project called MK Ultra. They made a movie about it called Men Who Stare at Goats. Mm-hmm. Okay. Basically, they would dose these people with LSD and other kinds of psychoactive drugs to have them communicate with the beyond.
Okay.
And some of these people got fried.
Yeah.
Fried.
Of course.
Others became stupid smart.
Yeah. It depends on personality.
Yes.
It has a big play.
Right. The theory is, at least amongst the people that believe in what we believe in, is that some of these individuals made it into the tech world. And they never stopped taking LSD. And are making contact with this entity, let it be a devil, a demon, or whatever. And that's what's feeding these guys this crazy technology that's making robot dogs and humans and AI and our cell phones and all of this. Look, as a believer, as a Christian guy, I kind of believe it. Mm-hmm. I really do. At the same time, I'm like, because I know that there are other things out there that do exist.
Right.
That I cannot explain. That my faith is just, it's out there. Like I have no explanation. I can't prove it. Yeah. I can't show you. I can just tell you that it exists, and I do believe it. And this is one of those things. Just like I do believe that these people are playing with things that they don't completely understand and are being pawned with.
Manipulated. That's right.
And I think that Bob Lazar, to bring it back, I think that Bob Lazar
is aware of something.
Of something,
maybe twisted in his own belief, but
I think since he is self-proclaimed agnostic, so he doesn't believe in anything.
He's a what? He's a what?
Agnostic. Not an atheist. An agnostic.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
Agnostic is that you don't know. It's basically saying, I don't believe because I don't know. It's not, I don't believe because I choose not to believe. And that's an atheist. An agnostic is like, it can be true, I just don't know, so I don't believe. That's an agnostic, basically.
Okay.
So he said, in the documentary and on the Joe Rogan podcast, of the things that he saw and of the things that he was kind of been taken part of.
How did he see these things?
So he was recruited by a company, a shell company.
A show?
A shell.
Shell. Like gasoline shell?
No, shell company as in like a cover company for the CIA.
Okay.
Or the government company or whatever, like a contractor.
Gotcha.
Okay, to become one of the scientists on site for this location called S4. S4 is like part of Area 51. but not inside of Area 51. It's within the complex, but not actual Area 51, where like they do all the tests. He worked there. I think it was for like almost 2 years or whatever. He ran experiments on flying saucers, on propulsion systems, on things that don't make sense to what we consider. And I'm not smart enough to talk about this shit. I'm just regurgitating what I'm hearing. Okay, and I'm a dumbass. So take everything with a fat rock of salt. Not a grain of rock.
Matter of fact, just dive in the Dead Sea.
Okay, so he was working like anti-gravity stuff and materials that would make these crafts, UFOs or whatever, flying saucers, actually move from place to place. And he describes all of this with immense detail, talking about the people he spoke to, the manner in which he got into the facility, out of the facility, how he was transported into the facility, everything from blind transportation, as far as they would like place.
He's saying that he went through these things.
Yeah, so like when he went into the complex,
why isn't he dead?
He's not dead, but he has lost everything. They have scrubbed him from all records. As far
why isn't he dead?
I don't know.
Why would you want to scrub his records when you could just do what they did to JFK?
So check this out. So listen,
done.
You're right. I agree with you. I'm saying the same thing. I'm asking all these same questions, but here's the thing. And at least for what he explains it, homeboy went to MIT. He went to Caltech.
Extremely intelligent.
Right? There are news articles of him building, jet propulsion systems for MIT, for Los Alamos, for all these things that are like public record. But somehow the U.S. government or whatever company he worked for, I don't even know if it was the U.S. government, to be honest with you, somehow they scrubbed his educational records. They scrubbed he doesn't exist. Technically, he doesn't exist as Bob Lazar. Like, he's a person we know in the public eye, but as far as you look up his records to see if he has a social security or a background check, he doesn't exist.
He's the freaking alien. I told you. That's why he hasn't changed since 1983.
Maybe. But what I find freaky is that, like, during at least part of the documentary, look, guys, I'm not trying to take everything that I see online. I take everything with a huge grain of salt. I'm a skeptic. When I see a documentary that I find interesting, I always go, was this staged or was this real?
Right.
And during the documentary, he got raided by the FBI.
Wait. Oh, I got you. Okay. I was thinking the podcast, but you're talking about the actual...
Mm-hmm. He got raided.
Like Netflix.
Yeah, he got raided by the FBI and got caught on camera, and they went through all this, and, they treated him like a criminal, but had no evidence on him. Look, I listened to the whole podcast with him on Joe Rogan. The dude is a weird guy, but
You're all weird.
But
people are weird, bro.
But I did not get the sense that he was lying. Do I think he's right or wrong? I have no idea, but I believe that he believes he's telling the truth.
You're an agnostic with this particular situation.
Yeah, I'm agnostic to the situation. That's right.
Okay.
But I believe that Bob Lazar believes he's telling the truth, which makes me think, if a guy who's that intelligent and knows, at least for what he says, the periodic table and science, and he is a freaking rocket scientist, legitimately.
Literally.
If he says that these things do not exist in this world, as far as, anti-gravity and all these things, he was like, they don't exist yet. We don't have the capacity to make these things happen. All of a sudden, the things that he was talking about 30 years ago, within the last 10 years, have been coming out. I hate to quote an evil dictator, but history is absolving this guy. I don't know if aliens are real. But if this guy's telling any smidgen of truth, makes me think, man.
Maybe aliens are not exactly what we think.
I don't think so.
It's not the short little green guy with a flying saucer. Maybe it's
a little gray guy, like Independence Day.
Maybe it's yeah, for real. Maybe it's maybe it's a spiritual entity. Maybe it's a spiritual being.
Which is one of
another theory. Anyways,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
But
it's interesting.
It's interesting to talk about because to me, in a lot of ways, it's funny how kind of we've been doing this for 13 weeks now, right? And I'm surprised we're this far that we're going into these topics and it's like kind of like stuff I want to talk about, you know, because there's also conspiracy theories in boxing too. You know, there's conspiracy theories in MMA and all these things. And
that's what I'm saying. There's a conspiracy theory for every freaking thing.
But I think about it and it's like, hey, you know, I don't know. I can't prove this shit. I'm not smart enough to tell you that this thing really does exist on this.
Obviously, anybody is. Nobody's that intelligent enough or has the right
There's like a handful of people, yeah. But
right.
At the end of the day...
But they're probably dead.
Most likely.
Not Lazar, obviously, which is weird.
I think it's because he's a nobody. In a lot of ways. He's a guy that's, you know, I think he's... A lot of people are interested in his story, but he's very much of a recluse. So I think that's the only reason he's alive. It's because he avoids the camera. And unless, you know, people are hunting them down and like...
He went on the #1 podcast in the United States. I don't think he's that hard to reach, especially for the government.
Not anymore.
Right.
Not anymore.
Especially not anymore.
Not anymore. At least for the last 10 years he was. But now, I think that shit's out.
Yeah.
But carajo. Yeah. Pero, I don't know, man. I don't know if they exist.
Maybe. I personally don't care.
I know you don't. You didn't even want to do this podcast.
Because they're not giving me money.
No.
So why would I care?
So
they're not giving me jobs.
So let's talk about. Let's talk.
I want to try alien food. Why haven't they cooked me? Huh? I'm a foodie.
Hey bro, you have tried alien food.
What?
Mexican food, bro.
Lozo?
My wife too, bro. That's my wife too.
That's good food too. Love it.
Anyway, let me say, let's bring it into sports. I think one of the biggest conspiracy theories that has never been confirmed is, did Michael Jordan not throw a game and ended up killing his father because of the mob?
Did Michael Jordan not throw a game?
So, the story goes.
Okay.
I think it was the 94 finals before he retired the first time.
Okay.
The mob, because of so much gambling debt Michael Jordan had, asked him to throw the series.
The mob?
The mob.
Michael Jordan had gambling debt?
Gambling debt. Mind you, in 94...
serious money, bro.
Mind you, it was 94. Yeah, he was rich, but he wasn't as rich as he is today.
Oh, of course not. He's a billionaire, literally. So,
okay, so... The story goes, and it's never been confirmed or denied. It just says he was killed. Okay? It doesn't say who.
Who was killed?
His father. So, basically, Jordan had a bunch of debt, and they threatened to kill his dad if he didn't throw the game. To clear his debt.
Obviously, he didn't throw it.
Because fucking Michael Jordan's a freaking super athlete who hates to lose. Do you think that the mob killed his father?
No.
No?
On paper, what was the cause for his father's death?
Murder.
His father was legit murdered?
Yeah, this is to say drunk driving accident, but...
Okay.
But...
That's my point. What was on paper? Was killed in a car accident?
Yeah, it could have been anybody. But that's what they're saying. I mean, that's what they say. That's why he retired from basketball the first time. That's what they're saying.
That's very Kawhi Leonard-ish.
You think so?
As far as the father, Kawhi Leonard's father was also murdered. Which prior to him going into the pros, I think during his high school year, which is why the way he is, some people say he's like that because his father died at a young age, so he's like super to himself. So it just reminded me of that. Yeah. I don't know, man. I personally never even looked into that Michael Jordan one. I kind of had no idea, but not as we talked about, I kind of remembered some things. But I don't know, bro. I mean, maybe.
Yeah. What about in boxing, man? There's a couple in boxing. The big one is the John Collins. I
thought you were gonna say the Rocky movie. Who killed Coach?
Who killed him?
Yeah.
It was Tom Collins and the Puerto Rican dude. Forget his name.
Tito.